Welcome back to Pro Bikini News Network. I'm your host, John Algandy, and in today's video, we're going to be recapping the Mr. Big Evolution, and we're going to talk about some of the competitors at NPC Universe, and we're going to be previewing this weekend show, one of the biggest lineups of the year, Republic of Texas, and we got the Euro Muscle show. I'm really excited for this whole week, and I'm looking forward to seeing the 5th annual Republic of Texas. And shout out to Bernadette and Helio for putting on a great show and great production, not only for the athletes, but for the fans. It's honestly one of the great experiences for them. But talking about Universe, I think this year, what I've seen in pro qualifiers, the biggest standouts in all the shows is probably the E-class. You know, going at the beginning of this year, the Juliana girl from the Arnold Amateur, and then Junior USAs, you had Nikki, and then now recently you have Ali. But I definitely think that's probably the most competitive class in all the shows, and that's probably what we're going to see going into this year. But first and foremost, I want to congratulate Ali Prince on becoming pro. I know she got a lot of backlash for doing junior nats and, you know, saying, oh, you weren't ready. But, you know, I feel like it was good for her to do that show and make a mistake there versus putting everything into one whole show, trying to qualify and then calling it a year. Because I think last year she did junior USAs and she was like, I'm done. Versus, okay, let me see what I can do. And, you know, she believed in herself. She trusted the process, and now she's a pro. But the overall winner from Universe was the C-class girl, and she wasn't really big on, you know, following. I never seen some of these girls before. But, and amazing physique, by the way. Moreno, I believe is her last name. I forgot her first name, but I just remember Moreno. And then the girl in F class looked, you know, like outstanding. And I did remember one of them, if I have to look back, but I think she was the H class winner, I think. Yes. And then I saw there was one girl that really stood out to me in E class. And I'm going to say, like I said, I feel like that's the most competitive class of the whole, of this whole year. I feel like that has the most standouts in every pro qualifier. Now we have USA's coming up, and then North Americans, and then nationals, and then even the Olympia amateur. I was like, they're going to have the most standouts there. But let me show you this one girl. I was just like, I've never seen this one before. I think she's Rachel Sedgwick's athlete. But when I saw her, I was like, who is this? I mean, this is insane. Wow, look at that. Her name's Issa, I believe. Yes. I mean, the presentation and like, this is insane physique, insane ratios for her. Now, because she's on the younger side, I do think because she's more longer and taller, she needs to fill out her frame more and just, you know, bring more projection to her glutes. But honestly, like, for front is just, it's like the waist isn't ridiculous. It doesn't look real. She also did, yeah, I think she was 4th here, and then she was 5th there. But this girl has a pro physique. Right here, I feel like, yeah, she just needs to fill out because she's really, and you've seen biceps. But if she gives herself more time to grow and fill out, I definitely think that she's a pro worthy. And I'd like to see her on the pro stage. She's got a great, beautiful bikini structure. And I definitely think presentation-wise, she's going to be very memorable. And like I said, you know, even when I look at some of these amateur shows, I kind of see who's a standout. Even if it's not the girl that wins the pro card, if they're like even 3rd to like 6th, I look at them, I'm like, okay, maybe not now, but eventually, because there's just something needs to be there. I feel like something, when they're not placing, if they're not in the top 2 spots, something's just not there with their physique. But I definitely think for her, it's just filling out, just putting more to her glutes. But conditioning wise, she's very spot on. Go to Universe, it's much better. She did improve slightly, but I feel like the other girls, like Ali and the 2nd place girl, just had more to them. But honestly, great proportions to her. And I'm looking forward to see when she does become pro. Okay, let's go to our winners. So let's go to these tops. Let's go to our class winners here. So this was our overall winner. Let's see, her name is, I forgot her name. I just remember Moreno. For some reason, it's just not sharing. Here we go. Katrina. Honestly, she got a beautiful look to her. Conditioning spot on. Good glute and hamstring tie-ins. No, I would kind of minimize movement in the transitions. I would kind of be more I would kind of be like more upright in physique, just in her front. But this is very good. I mean, I actually think right away she can go and compete. Obviously, she still needs some growing to do, but I think this is going to be something great in very many years to come. Let's see. Then we have Allie. Her Gilco video was the Drake song, and I just was remembering what I found a coincidence because I was just doing posing video. I was just doing like a posing routine, and I was just like, let me do a 1 minute song, let me do a 2 minute song, let me do a 3 minute song. Nice for what was one of the songs. When I was just like, just if I didn't have much time, I have to just stand there and pose in place. And I just played that song on my playlist on Spotify. And I was like, oh, this is the same song I was playing. Like, hey, it was a coincidence, but I'm happy for Allie, and I love like how she's just sharing her whole journey. She's sharing everybody what she's going through, and here I am at this weight, and by the time she gets to stage, she looks like a whole different person. Like from off season to stage look, it's like, am I looking at someone totally different? Now I am trying to get used to like this light brown hair of hers. I'm used to her like light blonde, dirty blonde kind of hair, but the suit looks good. She came in on point. I felt like she just needed to be a little more tighter, and she brought that improvements from 2 weeks. So I would say, like I said earlier, I feel like it was much better to do something, make a mistake, and then then take that feedback and then apply it to your next show. But to turn pro, to do well, hey, I'm happy for her. Whatever she's doing, if she chooses to do a pro show or not this year, I'm all for it. I think if you're good enough to win your class and you can compete right away, just come and see what you could do, see what you stand with the pros. I do think the biggest issue for her is probably in her back. It's just her glute protection, and she's more wider in the back from her. So that's just something she has to keep working on to make her detail and her presentation much better. But I love her. I like how she just shares everything, and I think more girls should be doing that. Just like, even when she said, I don't want to share with, I don't want to post a video that I'm crying and I'm having a bad time. Like, no, you're showing people that you're going through it all. You're not showing I have a perfect life and here's a good highlight of my life and I look great and I always look great. No, you're showing your ups and downs. Your things that you're going on in your personal life. I know something with her like Pat was going on. And she has all the tools to be successful. She has a great fan base. She got the sponsors. She's just being her, and she just does what she does and loves what she does. And hey, it shows when you have that passion. What do you do now that you are a pro? What do you do with it? But yeah, like it's a totally different person. Like I could just show you like what she looks like. Let me see a deep off season look versus like recently. Oh, that was like 2 years ago. Actually, that was like 2 years and last year. Let me find a good one. But I feel like one thing that really helped her was just taking 1 week off and relaxing. Like just going to the beach, just being away from the gym. Let me see. It's like a 7.5 weeks. Let me see where she says she started. But the way that she leaned out to like get that kind of physique is insane. So this is like 1.5 weeks before she started prep. So this is like almost near the end of her off season. And then when you see what she looks like on stage, is like, what the hell am I looking at? I mean, that's insane. But you're showing everybody you go through off season that versus being stage lean year round. And I'm happy to see what she does at the next level. I did recall, I think her name's Liz. Liz Shiz, yeah. Like I think I've seen her before. I don't know. Oh yeah. Oh, she used to live in Virginia. She used to go to the shop gym. I think she moved to Florida. Her TikTok is hilarious. She does all these like funny skits and stuff. Um, and listen, if you, I know it's weird for me to say this, but if you get me to chuckle, even if it's like corny as hell, you did a good job. But she's been doing national shows for some time now. I'm so used to her in the blue, but the red's fine on her. She has darker hair, so it contrasts very well. But because she is a tall girl, one thing is I felt like in the past was her issue is that she didn't have the glutes like almost like at the pro level. When you're in a national show, you're a pro level. Even if you're not a pro yet, to me, that's what I feel like was the issue. If she just works on, filling out her frame because she is longer and taller, that actually going to really help accentuate her physique much better. But and if she just comes out with more energy in her presentation, I know in amateurs just like get to the point, but when you get to the pro level, you better come out like you're memorable. But congratulations to her. Let me see. We'll get to Portugal. Just I have to look through if there's one more. Yeah, I think those were to me the standouts of the show. So then let's get to Portugal. The biggest talk about the weekend was Evie Escandar losing to Golsa. And, we're so used to seeing Evie win every show that she's in Europe. And, even she told Golsa after she won that, not everyone's invincible. And hey, congratulations to her being great sport about it. I mean, every show that Evie was in, she's always a dominant one. And for 5 years, she's dominated every single show in Europe. And, for her to not to win, I feel like, hey, look, you did what you could. You showed up. Judges can only judge what they showed, they had on show day. But the top 5 girls, I felt like, the one of them I think did turn pro and then did her debut, and she got 5th. And I think one of them we did talk about. I am gonna mention her, but she's also going to be competing again this weekend. And then Monique really was a standout to me. I feel like she has a great bikini structure, and in the past she was getting 6th place, but I feel like if she just grew into her and improved a couple things here and there, it could have really helped her physique out. But let's talk about our 5th place girl first. So this is Olena. I think she has a great physique. She is displaying her physique well. I feel like one thing that is hurting her is just maybe how she's twisted and, her waist. But great S curve. I feel like this front post could be tweaked a bit. I mean, it's different in the amateurs because you're going from amateur to pro within almost 18 hours. So, I mean, for her to get 5th and defeat a former Olympian, a current Olympian as well, it's truly amazing. I do think, like, for this front pose, I would just kind of like relax that shoulder because she's kind of like lifting that up a bit. But just in the front, she needs glutes. In the back, she's really solid, but I just feel like her front just needs to be better presented. Obviously could fill out, you could see some veins right here, but she doesn't need to get any more shoulders. That's one thing that I'm looking at directly right now. Okay. And then in her back, let's go here. So in her back pose, it's really great. The thing is she has shorter glute inserts. I feel like, right here, you could see that she needs more upper glute. She could use a little more detail to her hamstring. Tie-ins are pretty solid. Really well balanced from glutes to hams. I just think she just needs just a little more leg right here just to balance it out. But it's actually really great pose, really great package. She is a very pretty girl, but I feel like does like maintain the shoulders, bring up groups. I don't know how tall she is. I don't know how. I didn't see her quite in the comparisons. I didn't buy the streams, but honestly, this is really good. Her hair could just be a little bit cropped. That's what my advice I would say. That could help fix her physique. Suit's fine. But in the back, it's just ridiculous. I just feel like the detail from lower half just needs to match up. Right. And 4th. Oh no, did I delete it? Hold on, let me go back. Here you go. No, here you go. I think her name is Petri Beatrix. Very beautiful girl. I did remember seeing her. Yeah, the Hungarian girl. Yeah, she's got a beautiful look. I mean, this I think this was her debut. I did see her, so I didn't have much information on her before, but first time seeing her, I actually really like this girl. She has a very beautiful look. Love the green suit, and I kind of wish more girls had that green suit. Like the crystals are fine. It does contrast very well with the tan to the hair. For her, I would probably use a little more detail right here. This pose is pretty good. I just think she needs to fill out because it does look like she is kind of, very lean. She is a smaller girl, so that's one thing I feel like she just needs to just maintain. Obviously with the show being so long, some people lose their pump, and that was probably a result of it. Feet position's pretty solid. Actually, no, I would kind of fix this right here so it doesn't look like you're locked in. But honestly, very good. Makeup's good. Very beautiful girl. Actually, looking forward to seeing what she's gonna do whatever show she does next. Let's see, go into her back. In the back, I feel like it's great. I just feel like conditioning could have been a thing. Or she did have some tanning, and maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just lighting, but I did feel like the tan made it look a little too green. But very beautiful girl. Hair's good. Um, I feel like this, like I said, some posing tweaks could be fixed. I feel like a lot of girls have this kind of like Laura Lee-esque physique with like shorter glute inserts. And I mean, hey, look, she is this, Laura Lee is the Miss Olympia. She's a they kind of have that kind of similar look, which is cool to see. Like people have that similar look and they're competing and they look like that. But I definitely think for her, it's just maybe adding a little bit more to her just maybe adding a little bit more, obviously to move up into those hot spots, but she's got a beautiful look to her. And I wanted to say, hey, congratulations. And I think going forward, you can continue to improve on that. Now, posing wise, I just think a couple things just had to be tweaked there, and maybe working with someone who can see it all would work very well for her. And third, we had Monique. Honestly, I think she has such a beautiful bikini structure. And last year, when she was getting sixth place, I didn't quite understand, but then I kind of saw what was lacking in her physique. And I just feel like because I don't know how tall she is. I think she's about 5'7", 5'8". And we kind of see this with the theme of taller girls. She just has to like add more detail. How she's doing this pose, I feel like it could be tweaked a bit. I do think she needs a little more width. She needs a little more width so that it doesn't look like she's all narrow. She did fill out her frame much better. I just feel like how she's posing, and she can obviously bring her waist in a little more, so it would be very well proportionate. But beautiful look. Love the purple suit. I think last year she had like red on. I just think for her, it's just getting more experience. Cause I think this is like what her like third, fourth show ever. But shoulders don't need it anymore. She doesn't need to get any more leaner. You can kind of see like a little separation right here. So her back is pretty solid. I do think she just needs a little more fabric to her suit cut. Like I said, I think that she just needs to get, filling out her shoulders more just so that it doesn't look too lean. She was just building up her width because she is wider in the back. Just something I should feel. But glutes are really good. Tie-ins and conditioning is pretty spot on for her. I just think that her upper body needs to match with her lower body. And because back in the past, it was just her lower body needed to match up. But honestly, if she fills out her if she fills out much better and just doesn't come in too lean or too over conditioned, she can obviously be in that spot. And I definitely think she's a front runner to whatever show she does next. And I am going to talk about her going into the Euro show that's happening this weekend. But honestly, I'm happy that she moved up. I thought she was initially going to be in that fourth, fifth range, but to move up to the third and be like a contender to win, I mean, kudos to her. And I'm looking forward to seeing what she does next show. Next, we have... Where's Evie? Here we go. Evie. So Evie was our front runner to win. I definitely think it was a good physique. I definitely think that what she brought was really solid. Always is a contender to win. I think here, looking at the other girls, I think she just needed to fill out more with her shoulders. That's kind of one thing. She comes in too lean and vascular. She is fixing her posing, which is great, because sometimes she'd have her arm way out. But I think that it's just maybe too lean. That she just came in a little too lean. That's probably the issue with her. And maybe the first place girl had more fullness to her. But obviously she comes in with a beautiful look. She is one of the best bikini. She is the best bikini pro in all of Europe. But I just feel like in Europe shows she has to like match that with US criteria. So I feel like for her, it's just filling out just more and I feel like just more depth to her glutes is always going to be something that she needs, because she is a shorter girl. She has longer torso and short legs and short limbs. So one thing that's just for her is just filling out. But honestly, beautiful look. I do think that she should minimize the red, like the amount of red that she's using, because her nails are like the one thing I was looking at was kind of distracting. Just kind of like a color that's not so bright. I mean, it's red background, red suit, almost everything's red. The photo quality was much better here versus last year. Last year they were all blurry and jagged. Let me see here. Going to her back. So in her back, it's just, I feel like she could kind of relax these elbows a bit. She could just have her arms a little bit more down. Conditioning's pretty good. She doesn't look too tight. I just think one thing for her is just, it's just filling out and just more project her glutes. That's always going to be an issue that's always been an issue for her. If she just comes in like with a great peak, pretty spot on, she's going to win. But this is what she brought. This was the best. This is one of the best that she looked. And honestly, this is one of the best years she's had. And whether she continues to compete or not for the rest of the year going to the Olympia, I definitely think that she's a contender to place and even be a top 10 at the Olympia. So I'm looking forward to seeing what she can do and what improvements she has between now and October. And then let's get to our winner, which is Golsa. Going into this, I had her at least third. To see Lisa get sixth versus being second, I was really shocked. But she has a beautiful look, beautiful frame. I just feel like for her, she needs to just come in just a little more tighter, especially in her waistline. So one thing I would just is fix this hand placement. It feels like her fingers right here going to her belly button. She just needs to like show that middle more. Just needs to be better with her core. She is filled out. She is in condition. Lower body wise, it just upper body just needs to match that. I feel like this could be more fuller right here, because I think that's kind of a thing that you see in Europe. They have more of a conditioned, more drier look, versus in US you see a more fuller look, and they kind of like what makes sense. You don't want to be like too shredded, but the front how she's doing this front pose is really solid. But I feel like one thing is going to be an issue with her is just her waistline. She does have a thicker waistline, thicker obliques, and that's just something she's going to have to continue to minimize. She kind of has that Eureka look. Back pose was really solid. Got to make sure that your calves don't overtake it, because she's got some great calves. Could relax this out, but could relax this arm a bit just to match. Really solid. She could crop her hair a bit. The suit cut could be just a little more. It's a little too thin, but it doesn't look that bad. I just feel like that's something that she could work on. Also careful that you don't have your getting adductors. It is kind of showing a little bit. Honestly, it could have been a toss up between her and Evie, in my opinion, but she showed up just a little bit better. I think that was one thing, that her fullness in some areas was better than Evie's leanness. But going forward, I think if she started competing here and seeing what it's like, in US criteria versus in Europe. Maybe she can adjust and improvements. I mean, her coach is one of the best in the world right now, and that's one thing I think that she can do to work on. Just has to be mindful of just having that good separation of glutes because she has longer glute inserts. She doesn't want to make sure that her tie-ins don't like go way deep down and it's like a ham rope. So, hey, congratulations, Skolsa. She's going to her first Olympia, and hey, see what you do at that level. Alrighty. So that was Portugal. We're going to get into, I'm going to do Euromuscle first, and then we're going to get into our big show. So let's talk about Euromuscle. Let's get into this. Here we go. We got a great list. The only ones that are qualified is currently Lisa. So we have how many former Olympians? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 Olympians right here. Rukiye is one of the front runners because she is the champion from last year. We just talked about Monique. I definitely think that she's one of the front runners to win this after placing 3rd in Portugal. So that's one girl we have to look out for. Alice. She took 2nd in Indy. She's been placing very well this year. So that's one girl we have to look out for. Let's go. And then Beatrix, she took 4th, the cute little one from Hungary. This one right here. Then we just talked about Monique. Taking so long to upload. Okay, Monique. So then let's see. Alina, she's done well last year, but this year it's kind of been difficult for her. Sarah, she's always up there in the European shows, and she's done pretty good in the US shows as well. Let's see. Lisa, she's won 2 shows. She's Olympic qualified, only one on the list. So she's obviously going to be one of those girls in the top spot. Okay, let's go. Anna. I think she took 2nd or 3rd in a recent show. See anything from the stage? So obviously she's being a previous Olympian. She's one to look out for. No, wrong show. Let's see. Rukiye, the reigning champion. I think she was 3rd, 4th in Empro. I'm not sure. I think so. 4th, yeah. Okay. Then we have Elsabet, who's done very well in US. She's competing in Europe. I consider her like a miniature Ashley K. We're on the same team. No, that's not recent. Let's see from her last show. Here we go. Honestly, she's such a great person. Like I watched that. I listened to her episode with her and Corey, who I actually have my episode up for her, but doing powerlifting style training just to grow a bit. But I feel like she just needs to fill out so she doesn't come in too vascular or like too much in her bicep. But obviously, someone like this who's been used to US criteria and they think she did compete in some shows in Europe, if I'm not mistaken, in the past, but she does really well in US. But obviously, I would say that she's one of the top girls to be looking out for. I think she could get like top 2, top 3 here, even win the show. I'm still trying to get, like I said, I'm still trying to get used to her blonde hair. I'm so used to her darker hair. Okay, so Elizabeth, and then one of the fan favorites is Scarlett. This is going to be her second pro show ever. She turned pro at Europa. She is such a great fan base, and everyone's rooting for her. The whole UK's rooting for her. So she got a whole country that's backing her up. But we haven't seen her since the we haven't seen her since Europa. She does post a lot of videos and shows her progress. The girl just loves to train. Let's see, anything from Europa? Anything up here from Europa? Yeah. This was last year. No, Europa was here. No, let's see. Nope. Let's see your stage pics. Yeah. She, I think, was like 15, which isn't bad for her debut. But coaching herself and do all that, I mean, I got to give her credit for that. Here we go. This is when this was the amateurs, yeah. So that's someone we have to look out for. All right. We'll get to our predictions, but now the biggest show of the year. And I'm going to get to our list. But initially we had 46 girls. And then yesterday they added the 47th girl from Australia, because I don't know, the time zone things are different and all that. But this is one of the biggest shows of the year. And for Bikini, I mean, I think it's the second record, because back in 2019, at the Iron Games, Attila Santiago won that show. And I remember there was like 50 girls in that lineup. This show has 47. And then Sasquatch, the one Tamikia Carter won, there was 44 girls in it. Initially it was going to be 38. And then when they had that like late registration, there was like more, and it's like 44 girls. So, I mean, this is going to be epic. I mean, I think the only one qualified right here is Nay, and it's going to be tough. I mean, hey, there are new pros here that can go and make a name for themselves. There are girls doing their debut. There are veterans here. There's two of the top girls in the world that got to qualify. One of them is probably our front runner to win this whole thing. It's going to be such an exciting show, and I'm looking forward to seeing this whole weekend. I mean, I honestly think that Galvanized Productions always has those great shows, and this one they've started back in 2021. I remember Daraja Hill was their inaugural champion, and then the following year, Aaron Stern won it, and then what's her name, Alexis, and then Ashlyn Little won it. So Team Cash is 2 for 4, and maybe one of Cash's girls can be one of the top girls to go and win it. And I'm looking forward to seeing it, and I'm thinking, hey, this is gonna be awesome. And this is like, people are saying there's too many competitors here. I'm like, well, what are you gonna do? They're gonna be 75 on the Olympia stage. When you're there, now what? This is a challenge. This is a test. This is gonna be a learning experience. You got to take this and go, you know what? If I can handle 47 girls, I can handle 75. I mean, right now there's 55 girls qualified, and it's not clear if two girls who are former champions are coming back or not. But I'm looking forward to it. So let's go through a girl. I'm going to go through a couple girls, and then I'm going to pick probably 15 to place here. So 1/3 of this lineup is going to place here, whether you like it or not. And I definitely think someone could really come out, be memorable. They could do the unbelievable shit. Now, I understand that two of our front runners look like the girls to win, but someone who is a previous Olympian or someone new could come into the spots. And, you know, I don't think anyone's safe. I think everyone's going to be challenged. Everyone's going to be tested here. So let's get into that. So I had to make 2 pages for it because I want the names to be bigger and not like be too small. So 47 girls. And I didn't know the girl from, I think I forgot her name, but she's from Australia, but she got added. It was it was like right here. I think it's like, it started with like an L. So she was added in. But let's go through some girls who I think are going to be some standouts. Obviously, our front runner is going to be Reina. She took second here last year to Ashlyn Little. She just took second to Ashley Kay. Now, Mile High was not a good look for her, but seeing her updates leading up to the show, I definitely think that she's one of the girls to be like looking out for. Any show that she's in, she's obviously going to be a threat to anyone. The dog. I always feel like her back pose is like one of the best in the whole league, and that's why she's one of the top girls right now. Being a 3-time Olympian, I just think for her front pose needs to be fixed. Mile High just did not look as good as we saw it was in the past. But that's something that she needs to just work on. She is a taller girl. I think she's about 5'6". So one thing is just how to adjust to that. And this is before Mile High. But presentation, beauty, everything looks really good. It's just how she does her posing. And obviously not coming in way too hard or way too conditioned. But she is the girl to beat here. So then I'd say another front runner to win here is Kate. Last year, she competed a whole lot, and a lot of the shows she was losing to was against Ashley Kay. And then she decided to do the Dallas Pro, and it was against Ashley. And she came in like, okay, this is my last show. If I don't win, that's it for me. And she winds up beating Ashley Kay and Reina. And I honestly think at the Olympia, she could have been one of those top spots, but obviously being her first one, it's something that it was a learning experience, but she was in the second call out and she's a really standout. Like I said, you got to be memorable, and she definitely came out being very memorable. And you beat Ashley. You're going to be one of the most talked about girls in the whole for the whole rest of the year. You win this show against these many girls, you're definitely someone who people are going to be, looking out for. But I always felt like for her, it's just filling out more. Beautiful girl. I feel like she just needs to minimize the hair flick and stuff. But beautiful girl, the hair, the suit, makeup, amazing physique, by the way. All right. But definitely think it could be right there with her and Reina, but we'll see how it goes. And then let's see, Savannah, let's see, Michelle Billet. Again, a beautiful look. I just think she needs to add more to her frame and not come in too lean. You can kind of see it in her shoulders. You can see this tricep and bicep. She's got a beautiful look. It just needs to fill out. She did, I think, against one of her earlier shows, she did get like 4th in a show against Ashley. So let's see what she does here. This is going to be a challenge. This is going to be a test. That's someone we have to just look out for and see what she can do and see what adjustments she's made from Toronto to now. Okay, next we have Savannah. So she's been slightly improving almost every show that she's doing. She did take 4th in the Indy. I don't have anything from her last stage. I felt like for her, it was just her front pose that really needed work. But her back is pose is really solid. Just needs to minimize. And I think she's maybe holding a little bit of water in her lower body and her like lower back. But if she's peaked, I definitely think that definitely someone to be looking out for. We have Jess Dalius. She's a previous Olympian. She's always in those top spots, but this year it's kind of been like towards like the end of the call outs. I don't know if she's coming in too muscular or something like that. I think that's kind of like where the issue is going to be. Let's see. Malu, she's back. If she comes out strong, like she always does, like this year, I think she took fifth in San Diego. If she comes out like she did in the Iron Games show, that she took second in, and Sasquatch, she's definitely someone to be looking out for. She has such a beautiful physique, beautiful frame. I just feel like sometimes coming in way too lean. See, I do believe eventually she can at least win one show this year. But let's see, anything from San Diego? Here we go. Now, I like the purple suit on her the most. The pink is fine. It does work well with her darker hair and her skin tone. I just prefer her in the purple suit or the blue one. Just needs to like fill out. It just needs to fill out and just come in more tighter. The hair's fine. I mean, it was a different look for her, but I definitely think she comes in with great presentation, great energy. I definitely think she's one of the girls to be looking out for. She's got a, we call her Monkey Malu because she always carries this monkey toy with her. But I said, listen, you gotta go gorillas. You gotta go come out and go gorillas. You gotta be Malu Kong, not Monkey Malu. If you come out going like Malu Kong, you're gonna be any show that you in, any show that anyone sees you in, you're gonna be someone to be looking after. So definitely think that she's gonna be in one of the top spots. Okay. We have Alessia. She's a previous Olympian. I think she took third recently and then took fifth or sixth, I think. And we have Jody Ekstrom, who just turned pro recently, is doing her debut. I think she's ready for a test. She's ready for a challenge. And if regardless, this is my message. Hey, rookie, welcome to the pro league. But it's just, I say that because it's like, okay, you're going to learn. This is going to be a learning experience. Like, you're new pro, you're going to put yourself out there. You're going to, regardless what happens, you're going to take your feedback. You're going to come back and apply. I'm like this, and I think she could do pretty good here as well. Brittany Gillespie as well. She's been like right there to qualifying, and you know what? I believe she knows she's going to qualify, and eventually she'll get her win. She's been second, she's been third, she's been in the top 5 in every show that she's in. I definitely think it's balancing out her physique, and it's much better. It's much better here because it used to be like her lower body was like really dominant, but I feel like just needs to fill out up here. Just needs to grow more upper body, like right up top, just to balance it out. But conditioning, posing, pretty spot on. I definitely can see her in a couple years, being one of in the top 10 and doing very well. But she's young, and so she's got a lot to keep growing into adding on. She's longer. She's short. People think she's tall. She's only 5'4". She's just longer. She has a longer torso, longer legs, and just needs to just bring that out. Just bring some more fullness to it. And if she can do that very well, I honestly think that she has such a comparable physique to almost Reina. It's like, but Reina's just a little more taller. Like they have almost like the same ratios, like almost like longer torso, like great glutes, kind of like almost the same thing, but just 2 inches taller. I kind of think that she could compare honestly very well to Reina because they have a similar physique type. And then we'll go. Anyone else here? Next page. Go. She's from Brazil, Mariana. So this is her first time in a US show, so we'll see how she does. But in Brazil shows and South America shows, she's like always like second, six, seven, second to six. She's like always like up there. I think she took second to Evie last year. But it's interesting to see how she goes. And hey, listen, if she does well or not, hey, listen, it's all experience because you got to get used to getting to doing criteria here. So I'm glad that she's going to compete here, and this is definitely an Olympia style lineup. You're gonna, it's good to see that kind of experience to get you prepared for what's to come in the future. Let me see if I find Was it Colombia or I think it was Colombia that she was doing. No, let's see. We just get stage photos. Yeah, this was like This was actually Argentina, but I remember Colombia. She was like right there. She's longer and taller. One thing I always notice with her is that her tan is, you see sock lines. Listen, get them to fill this tan because it's like dark here and it's like that's always something I always see her like, just take your socks off. Sorry. I always see that with her. I'm like, just get the whole tan. Let's see. Nay, she's going to be one of the top girls. So she's already Olympia qualified. But one thing for her is just fixing her front post just to match her, because her back post is like really strong. And it's just how she poses in her front that really hurts her. But let me see from her last show. Anything individual wise? And obviously posing with confidence and not coming in too hard and too lean to condition. Like you see like the glute and the hamstring, like they project too much. It kind of like, that's what you're seeing the hamstrings like almost as big as almost like right there. But if she can do some posing tweaks here and there, I definitely think she's going to be in the top. She's definitely one of the front runners. And honestly, you kind of see a common theme with her, Rain, and Brittany. They kind of have like a similar look. And crazy genetics, by the way. So we talked about Raina. Sharon. She's done very well for her rookie season last year. This year, I think she did Pittsburgh. She was like outside the top 10. I think she was like 10, 12. But she's one I could see in those top spots. She compared very well to Reina in, I think it was the Texas show last year. But I feel like I feel like the biggest thing with her is just nailing her conditioning. The teal suit isn't bad. It works well with her darker skin tone and her darker hair. Let's see. Here we go. I just think she just needs to come in tighter. She's got an amazing physique, like amazing genetics. We talk about those insane glute genetics all the time, like India Paulino. She is Dominican, just like her, but it's just how if she can just nail the peak and nail her conditioning, she's definitely someone that can be in the top side. I definitely think that being in a show like this, getting challenged like this, is definitely going to be something great for her. But you know what? We'll see how it goes, and whatever improvements she's brought from May to now, we'll see how it goes. I definitely think that she has what it takes to qualify. She does have what it takes to be on the Olympia stage and do very well and be a top girl. It's just a matter of nailing it in the right place, right time, right peak. And we have, let's go, how many more? Christina, she's doing her pro debut. She turned pro at Nationals 2 years ago. Let me find her photo. Let me find some stage photos. I was hoping she would do something last year, but I feel like she just needed to grow more just to be competitive at the pro level, which I feel like is a better decision. Let's go. Go down. It's taking forever to load. Let's see. No, that was when she was an amateur. Nationals was really what stood out. Okay, since it's taking too long, we'll just go here. Beautiful look, like great proportions, by the way. Okay, since it's taking forever, let's go here. Danny. So she turned pro this year. Took fifth at her debut in the World Classic. Honestly, beautiful look to her. I just feel like she needs to just be a little more upright in her front to just bring up her shoulders and her glutes. She's a taller girl. I think she was F class. So if she brings that fullness to what she's brought from World Classic to now, definitely can see her in the top spots. I do think she could most likely be in that, like, first call out, most likely in that fourth to seventh range about, which isn't too bad. I mean, this is a tough line, but I definitely think that she has such a beautiful look and, you know, beautiful physique to her. It just needs more. It just needs more of it, you know. Hey, Savannah Watchman. She's a previous Olympian. Yeah. I think with her, sometimes she comes in way too conditioned, way too hard. I mean, it's impressive with her abs and stuff, and you know, but it's just for a bikini. You're trying to meet the bikini criteria to not come in too hard, too conditioned. But that's something I feel like she leans out very quickly. Okay, let's go. Savannah, Juliana. So she did well. She turned pro at the Arnold Amateur. Got third at her debut. I just feel like for her, she's just a little too small. She's a beautiful look. Just needs more of it on her physique. They're like, she doesn't need like I think can like how she comes in is great, but just she looks small amongst other girls. Okay. Neji. I think she was like fifth, sixth. I'm not sure which one at the San Diego show. She's one to be looking out for. This lighting's too dark. She's pretty solid in the back, just can't come in way too tight. And obviously front could be adjusted a bit. Just needs to be worked tighter in the core. And then Janae, she turned pro at nationals. This is her debut. I feel like she has like a good look, but I feel like her issue is going to be her waist. I think she was like second or third in the overall. But it's honestly a great look. Just needs to just, you know, her biggest weakness is going to be her waistline. If she doesn't come in, if she doesn't like come in tight there, that's gonna maybe knock her off. All right. So anyone else? Is there anyone I'm missing? I've seen like over like 20 girls, so I'm not gonna go through every single one. I just picked out ones who stood out to me the most. Marissa Wilmot as well. She's, I think, one of those top girls to be looking out for. I think she was like top 10. Let me see. Well, that's probably the last one I'm gonna look at. Let's see here. And once again, I'm kind of, like I said, when someone changes their hair color, I'm trying to get used to that. But I prefer the blonde on her. This is not bad with the darker hair in the suit. But I definitely think she's in one of the top spots. She does carry more muscle and, has more condition. So if she could just fill that out, definitely could see her in the top. Do I think that she's top 5? Probably not. But I do think that she could most likely be a first call out or be somewhere in the top 10. Just needs more. I think she just needs more projection to her. She's got great glutes, just needs more, projection and density to it. All right. With that being said, let's do predictions. Let's go here. I wrote these names down. So Portugal, I dropped the ball, got 39%. Jewel and Alina didn't do so well. So I'll do this as Euro. And I'm going to go Monique. I'm going to go Elsabet, Beatrix, Lisa, Ruki, Alice, Anna. I'll go Scarlett, Sarah. I'm going to go Alina. All right. Republic of Texas. Now this is tough. I had to go through, like, after like the top 2-3 girls, I'm just like right there. I'm like, oh, how's this gonna go? But I had to pick who I think could do well. I mean, 1/3 of these girls is going to do very well, and I know this is probably going to be something I really do super bad on. So Reina, I'm gonna go Kate, and I do think those two are like right here. I'm gonna go Brittany. I'm gonna go Nay, Danny, Sharon, Malu, Alessia, I'm gonna go Savannah. Actually, wait, crap. I'm gonna go Savannah, Alessia, Marissa. Actually, hold on. Savannah D. Go Savannah W. Savannah Watchman. Christina. Neji. Michelle. Like, I'm just thinking how they've placed in. I'm just looking at the record, but then again, you don't know what happens on show day. But if I'm going with who's going to meet criteria, who's like right there to like win it and go to the Olympia and do it. I'm just kind of thinking that's what's happening. But then again, you never know what happens on show day. So I kind of feel like all these are going to be interchangeable. And I think it's just going to be a matter of who comes in at their best, who comes in best, and who nails their peak. I mean, with so many girls, it's like right here, it's where you have to go and say, I got to get to the point. You don't get much time with individuals. Just get to the point, show your strengths, get off. If you take too much time and they say thank you, that's your sign to get off. If you continue after they keep saying thank you, they're going to keep writing down and seeing what you're not good at with the judges. So I definitely think someone who times it right, nails their peak, and that's who's going to win this show. All right, that's all I have for today. And man, what a long episode. But look, I'm looking forward to this year. I'm looking forward to this season. This is going to be such an exciting show to see. And if you guys like the video, let me know, share, subscribe. Who do you have winning? Who do you guys want to see go to the Olympia in Republic of Texas? Who are some of your top fives? Let me know. Anyways, thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys next time.